There's a lot to get to as we bring in Football Canada's Jim Mullin, and we all go to amateur football games. They play the national anthem before them, too. So, Jim, we got a few questions for you. How would you vote on that poll to start things off?
Well, let me share a story with you about one of the projects I worked on about 20 years ago. It was a documentary I did for the CBC about Japanese Canadians playing hockey in Japan. And the one thing that struck me right off the top was that there was no national anthem before these games. And I followed a team through the playoffs until they got to the final. And then when they won the final, after the trophy was presented in a fairly solemn ceremony, the winning team of the Japan Ice Hockey League lined up on the blue line, everything stopped, and the national anthem played. And it was so meaningful for those players on that team, whether they were from Canada or from Japan. And it was a signifier that you had won the national championship. So in terms of a national anthem before games, maybe it's lost its meaning somehow when I compare it to a situation like that, or a situation at a multi-sport games or an Olympic Games.
So just for international events, you'd be in favor of. I'm with you. I could be swayed either way on before games now because I'm with you. I guess times have changed, not necessarily for the better in some ways. But would you be in favor for international events at the end of games only, if that's how we did it?
For the winter, I think that's a possibility. That being said, when I was down in Mexico for the 2018 U19s for the World Championship, to see 30,000 people in a stadium in Mexico sing the Mexican national anthem with such bravado, and that salute that they have on the chest when those kids shout it out, man, that is moving and impactful. So maybe if we throw a little more passion into the way we sing the song, maybe that contributes to something as well.
Well, I would think, that you would be pro-anthem, pro-Canada, considering you are the president of Football Canada. But I'm just sitting there going, who's sticking up for the country these days? Don Cherry says, wear a poppy, and he gets canceled. Like, whatever, you're afraid to stick up anymore. So...
Well, I'm wearing the maple leaf here.
You're wearing it, exactly. And by the way, can we go to the full shot here? I want to say, just to bring this all home for you, Lynch, this helmet, of me, guys, of me. The football helmet right here that I'm tapping is from Jim Mullin. That was a gift right here from Football Canada for the World Juniors. So, Jim, now, before we get into the Football Canada business, I want your take, please, on the job that Randy Ambrosie's done, because if you see the house is on fire in the Canadian Football League, there's a lot of finger pointing going on at Randy. I'm not about it, but it may not matter. He's in some trouble right now.
Football is the ultimate team game, and I find it curious that people are focusing on one individual as a scapegoat of the problems. I think there are a number of factors that feed into the CFL situation. Some of that comes from the Board of Governors. And remember, Randy also leads a team out of that CFL office and also has to play a role in leading those 9 teams in terms of what impact they have in their communities, too. This is, even though there's a leader with a profile, this is a collective effort for the CFL. So I think to pin the misfortunes of the league right now on one person would be somewhat foolish. That being said, you're asking a guy that's the head of Football Canada right now, who has gone to the CFL, who has gone to the CJFL, and has gone to U Sports and asked them to join us in a series of summit meetings to ask how we can align our efforts better for the sport in this country. And hopefully within that conversation that we have with Randy and his team, we can find some solutions to help their team out as well.
So to the nuts and bolts of why we brought you on, I was with a staunch football person and supporter last night, and he said, I fear for the future of amateur football in Canada. And I said, I don't think you should have any fear. He's talking about like the long-term future. And maybe I'm wrong. I think Canadian amateur football is in good shape despite the pandemic, but maybe you could answer that question better.
Well, we were joking in terms of organizational status right now on a national basis. Which organization is in the best shape? Is it the CFL? Is it U Sports? Is it the CJFL? Or is it Football Canada? And for this one little brief moment in time, Football Canada is actually the healthiest of those four organizations. It's in large part due to planning, but it's also in large part due to the federal government chipping in and ensuring that we can get from point A to point B over the next year. On the ground with the PSOs and the community organizations and the high schools, there are some challenges there. That being said, our registration roughly is at about 50% of what it was from last year, so we have a good base to work from. I think one of the most encouraging signs is the shift to flag and the shift to non-contact. Those numbers are growing. Those numbers are growing, especially in Central Canada. I talked a little bit about national organizations aligning. The big question is, how do we align to capture those individuals who are involved in the flag game at whatever age? There's lots of adults, there's lots of kids. And for those kids that want to move up to tackle, how do we make that an easy transition for them to get involved in the contact game?
John Lynch here. Do you think television coverage, increased television coverage, will help a lot?
I think so. And I've had discussions with TSN. We were trading emails just earlier this week in regard to the Canada Cup and 2021 event that we're working on. That's an international event. We reached out to the BC Lions, and this was arranged by a team member over in the CFL office, where we're planning to play a doubleheader with the BC Lions on July 10th, be it a Canada Cup final or be it an international friendly or even a World Junior Championship that we're trying to facilitate for 2021. And the important linchpin in that is television. We do have our show that has taken somewhat of a hiatus that focuses on amateur football on both sides of the border, but is very Canadian-centric. So there are parts of television out there. One of the things that we have to do is align it and tie it all together. I know that U Sports is hurting a bit in terms of the television product. And I know that the CJFL is very pragmatic in terms of where they could move their Canadian Bowl in relation to the Vanier Cup. Maybe make one big weekend out of it where we can produce some lower cost television to deliver that product to the most eyes possible.
Armando Moreno, the Mexican football reporter watching in Mexico, says that was such an amazing game between under-19 Team Canada and under-19 Team Mexico at Estado Ciudad Universitario in Mexico City. He was obviously there. He says, you guys beat us on good terms. So that's cool. Now, to the university football discussion, Jim. Are they playing in Quebec? What's the deal?
That's a TBA right now. That's something that I was actually watching the Twitter feed for just before I came on. There may be an announcement as early as today coming out of Quebec. Certainly the CJEPs are focused on playing, and there's been some stories that came out late last night about that level being activated and being reformed in some sort of way so they can play within local groups, not the three tiers that they play in. But, it's funny, all the talk about the 6-game season for Canadian football was focused around the CFL. One of the models they're looking at in the RSEQ and the Quebec Conference is a 6-game season. Maybe that's where we get our half a dozen games of 3-down football this year is out of Quebec.
Well, I just had last one. I had a text here from the Saskatoon Star Phoenix. The Huskies are back practicing again with a photo of their quarterback Mason Nias throwing with a mask on. What's happening with Canada West teams as far as you know? We had talked about non-sanctioned games like months ago. We talked about it. Is it going to happen?
There is a possibility in Saskatchewan that you could have 1 or 2 games featuring the Saskatchewan Huskies against the Regina Rams. A possibility, and that's because the size of the cohort has been moved up within Saskatchewan, where you can compete in the game of football. And congratulations to Football Sask for doing such a great job of lobbying the Saskatchewan government and the ministries involved to get that number up. In most provinces that have an expanded cohort, we're talking about 50. In Saskatchewan, we're talking about 80. A number of the provinces down the line in terms of university football, I know there's so much enmity between the Calgary Dinos and the Alberta Golden Bears. There's not going to be a game there. The SFU Clan, because they're in the NCAA and in Division II, they're not playing. It's unfortunate that they won't be able to play a game against UBC, even though they'd like to revive the Shrum Bowl. Everyone in Ontario is parked. There has been discussion about a spring tournament based out of Quebec City with a number of leading teams going and playing in something of a jamboree, something like a Canada Cup where they play once every 3 days and have 3 games. So these players can be evaluated for the upcoming CFL draft. And the OUA has talked about one too. In the springtime. I think we have to get to diagnostic testing and testing that we can do on COVID the day of if we're going down that road with full-blown tournaments like that. But, we're all dealing with a fluid situation as we try to adapt and try to position our events for the upcoming summer.
For sure. Jim, last one. Producer Clark is coming out to BC. He has asked me to ask you about forest fire smoke. Our viewers are wondering where you are and how it is out there. What's the deal with the California fires coming up there?
California, Oregon, and Washington fires, actually, and it depends which way the wind blows. And I might tilt my computer over this way and to give you a good indication of where we're at in terms of smoke. I think you can see a lot of the smoke in the background. Usually we have a nice clear look across the water at Horseshoe Bay. You can see the haze is covering everything up right now. I'm over on Bowen Island. Usually behind those trees, it's a straight shot where you can see UBC on a clear day. It is not a clear day today. I've been coughing a little bit, actually, because you can smell the smoke here and you can feel it in your lungs. 2 days ago, it was clear as a bell. All depends which way the wind blows.
Wow. Well, stay safe, and there's your update. Clark, he's coming out regardless. So here's hoping for the best for everybody. Yeah, exactly. Jim, awesome update, my friend. Thank you for all you do and all you do for us as well. And let's chat soon. Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. I would be remiss before I left not to put a plug in for Doug Flutie's Maximum Football. Football Canada is going to be part of that video game. We have an announcement coming out next week. And I would say maybe the catalyst for it was this show right here with your CFL Tim games. So Football Canada is part of a video game. We got a video game.
Breaking news. I love it. It's been a blast. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Jim Mullin, president of Football Canada. But that would be cool if they've got Canada, I was going to say CIS, U sports games in the video game.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. They got CHL teams in NHL 20, so it wouldn't be that hard to believe.
Wouldn't be too surprising.
Way to go, Jim.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.